Sports Lounge, everybody. 179. Charlie Hildebrand's back with his books. David Shattenkirk's back with his hats. How was Pac-12 Media Days, Charlie?
It was good. I was hoping to get the inside scoop on Christian McCaffrey, but every time I tried to run him down, he eluded me, and I guess that's why he's good at football.
He's an eluder. Very good. What's Mike Leach cooking up this year?
Controversy.
Controversy.
And a pass-heavy offense.
Very good. Do you expect lots of passes from Washington State again this year?
I do, especially since Mike Leach thinks his quarterback's a Heisman Trophy candidate.
There you go. What would they have to do for him to have an actual Heisman Trophy contender? Obviously, they'd have to win a good 10 games.
I would say win 11 games.
And then he throws for 6,000 yards. Look at this. Look at this son of a bitch. How about it? Well, we do have the baseball trade deadline coming up here next week. David Shattenkirk, word on the street is this is a weak trade market. Is this how you see it?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Not a whole lot out there that I can see. There's teams that are kind of limbo if they're in or not, and I don't think anybody's really wanting to make a huge splash or two. It sounds like the Yankees are ready to move on from Chapman. That might happen here pretty soon, but I don't see. I could be wrong. In most years, I think it's going to be crazy at the deadline. Nothing happens. In years like this, where I think nothing's going to happen, we get 3 or 4 pretty big trades. But I would be quite surprised if any notable names got moved in the next week.
Any reason why it's weak? There just isn't any players out there. Maybe their contract's not coming up, or.
Not 100% sure. Without doing some more research, it certainly seems that teams are wanting to hang on to their guys and give it a run. That single wild card is working against us this year because there's still 4 or 5 teams on the periphery that think they might be in it and make a run, so they're not willing to dump their guys. But again, I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again.
How much of this has to do with the new NBA TV money?
Everything.
Everything. Good. Aroldis Chapman seems to be the big name floating about. Cubs are interested, sounds like. Sounds like Washington Nationals. They are interested as well. B.J. Upton apparently may get traded from the Padres. Chris Sale's the big name. He's not probably getting traded because...
Scissorhands?
I mean, let's discuss this goddamn story. Scratch from the start. First they say he's sick. Nobody believed that. So they say, okay, something happened in the clubhouse, and we figured, well, he got in a fight with somebody or had words with somebody, and that didn't happen. Charlie, what did you think going through the process of elimination here? What the hell could this have been? It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a disagreement with a certain person. You just cut up all the goddamn jerseys.
I didn't have like a big timeline of. I think the first thing I saw was when someone posted in the chat that it was like, oh, I guess he cut the jerseys up. So that was the first I saw. I just thought, I guess that means either you really, really want to get traded and get out of Chicago, or you're so confident in your abilities and your status to not get traded that you're like, well, I can do whatever I want. You're like Greg Laurie in the show House, where you can do whatever you want, you won't get fired. So I guess that's what Chris Sale thinks about himself, or that he just wants to leave. It could be either or. I don't know.
Marcus, what message does this send to Adam LaRoche's kid? Thank God he wasn't around.
Thank God. Although, I mean, I would say that if he was around, he would have provided the clubhouse leadership for this not to happen.
Kid or Adam LaRoche?
Yeah, the kid. I mean, the kid quite clearly at 12 years old last year was calling the shots. So, yeah, if he would have been around, we wouldn't have had this problem. When I heard this story yesterday, like, that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, first you have the Drake LaRoche debacle. Like, what is it with the White Sox and sort of these clubhouse issues? I mean, granted, I think this is probably the first time this has ever happened where, player cut up the jerseys, but just like weird things happening to the White Sox this season.
He's suspended now for 5 games. Stacken wants him thrown in jail for a month. I don't know what he's doing. He's having a summer vacation, but I'm interested to see Stacken's extreme position on this, just to kill this man for cutting up all the jerseys.
Treason!
Lock him up! Lock this man
Come
up!
on.
So, he's got 3 years left, I think, on his contract. Average of about 12.5, 13 million a year. Very reasonable.
I'll make a joke quick.
Yes.
I think one of the important stories here is that the White Sox have a left-handed scissors in their clubhouse. So,
Is that confirmed?
that's confirmed, unless he cuts.
Well, you never know. You get
It's tough to find.
So,
who knows? I'm sure Drew Ahman, he wants to trade everybody. Everybody should be traded.
everybody.
Everybody. The asking price is just too high as it should be. So I don't think it would make sense for you to give up 4 or 5 prospects for him.
Yeah, apparently the price is 5 prospects.
Which it should be, considering it's going to cost you $40 million for 3 years of maybe the best pitcher in the league. He probably says, I would like $20 million plus a year. I would like that a lot. So he's not going to get traded. Should they trade him? Should they lower their asking price and say, maybe give us 3 guys?
Earlier, I was on the don't trade them period bandwagon, because when you've got, like, I get the idea of trading somebody good for prospects, especially when you're not going to make the playoffs and you're rebuilding for the future. When you've got someone who's like one of the 3 or 4 best guys at their position, though, like, you can still trade them, but I think it requires a different kind of deal. So I have moved from the you can't trade them period to, I guess, the you could trade them, but obviously you would need a very strong deal, probably in your favor, just because, it seems like so often in all the sports they make trades, and it's like, well, they got all these guys, and then it's like, well, then 3 of them were hot garbage, and the other 2 were just okay. So, ultimately, they can make a trade, but they got to find one that's going to give them a lot, because
So you're saying, like,
they won't get the same kind of player back.
Let's say, I'll just make up a name here and say Johan Santana, and I'll make up another team and say, let's say they trade him to the Mets and they get like Phil Umber and Carlos Gomez, and Phil Umber's awful, and Carlos Gomez, they just trade him in 2 years, because why not? That would be a poor trade for the best pitcher in baseball.
Not like Santana wasn't that awesome though after they traded him either.
I had a couple good years.
Yeah.
But you would like to get more for that. Players that turned out to be good, and they did not get really much of anything.
I like the strategy of saying, this is what we want. We want 5 guys for this one guy. Who those guys are, you offer them, and we'll tell you. Yeah.
Here's a list of a dozen guys. You pick 5. We'll talk about it.
Right. I would say that I would make setting a really clear high price for sale, I think, is a good idea. And if there's a team that wants to get them, they know exactly where to stand. I think it's also good because the fans know we're not just going to give them away. If it's out there that, we're going to try to get a bunch of guys, I think that helps.
Texas would seem to be, they got the guys to trade if they want to.
They always want to trade for a pitcher. So
if Texas, got Cole Hamels, Yu Darvish, if he can stay healthy for an extended period. Chris Sale, we can maybe do something with them, because the Astros, they got to hold off the Astros because they're coming hot. They're coming in hot. Over under, David, 8.5 innings from Tom Malone today.
Jesus Christ. I say over under 8.5 runs.
Okay.
Under, I think 6 innings, gives up 5 runs.
Over under 1.5 hits.
Under, but like 17 walks.
17 walks. Good. Drew's not here because he doesn't do the show. So he wants to trade guys. David, who would you like to see this team get rid of?
Anybody that's good in the bullpen, because clearly there's not many, and the one that there is okay is probably has some value. Plouffe, obviously being hurt doesn't help. Expendable in my eyes, like he was at the end of last season. I mean, you can really. There's only about 3 guys where I'd be mildly upset if they traded. I mean, everybody besides Sano and Mauer, in my opinion, probably Buxton too, but is tradable. I don't care who it is.
Max Kepler. Oh, don't trade.
You find 4 guys. Can't trade Kepler quite yet.
Why the bullpen? The bullpen's finally okay. They got Kinsler is a closer, doesn't give it up every time.
This is a flash in the pan. Okay, all right.
No, he's gonna be a Cy Young winner out of the pen.
We know that.
If you can get anything for him, I'd take a bag of balls like I claimed Eduardo Escobar to be when we got what's his face for him, whatever.
Ed Escobar, emergency catcher today.
Ed Escobar, fucking sex offender. I'm standing pat on that one.
Sex offender. Ed Escobar, sex offender.
Fired ham sandwich for him. Something that you truly couldn't get any use out of at all.
A ham sandwich, a toasted ham sandwich, a ham and cheese.
But it's expired. It's got to be bad food poisoning if you actually eat it.
Well, I can't believe we made it this long on the broadcast and we haven't brought up Kearns' favorite NASCAR driver making a return today.
Yeah, we got this going on here. 12:40. What do we got?
2:30.
It's an hour and a half wait till the green flag it. You got time. Don't watch free racing.
Jesus Christ! What channel is
15
that?
green flags. You got time.
Yes, son.
NBCSN, they get good for them. Lowest ratings of all time.
It's gonna be weird seeing them out in the rainbow colors.
That'll be interesting. So the bullpen guys, you trade a bullpen guy. I would like to keep Nunez. I think they probably will because he's been their best player this year. And Jorge Polanco's he's a comer. He's on the come. But I would say Nunez, probably keep him. And since middle infield's not really been a strength, Marcus, this team does not have a long history of good middle infielders in our lives or in the life of the franchise, 55 years plus.
You got to go back to the days of Louis Rivas and Christian Guzman.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Sure.
If that's what the standard is, it's not a goddamn wonder we suck from off.
Brett Boone, alcoholic Brett Boone for a month.
I couldn't hit the ball because I was drunk. Agent Kurt, you should probably trade him. It'd be a good idea to trade him, even though they don't have any pitchers.
Not our one-time All-Star.
Is John Ryan Murphy dead, or what the hell am I missing?
Triple A.
Good.
Triple A.
Centeno, this is your time, Centeno. This is your time. I don't know who's out there for catcher next year. Sign a fucking catcher. They haven't had to worry about catcher.
We had that catcher that we traded for fucking Matt Capps 4 years ago. That would be
good deal.
Be nice.
They haven't had to worry about catcher for 15 years. They should probably worry about catcher right now. Terry Ryan was fired. That was all right. Charlie, what do you make of this reaction of, is it raining? Is it goddamn raining out?
It's raining. Oh, you and I live in the same city.
Holy shit.
Simultaneously.
It's raining out. That's my impression.
Terry Ryan fired. If Stacken was here, he would tell you he does not like the timing of this. He doesn't like the timing.
There's no loyalty in pro sports anymore.
Yeah. Even though I believe the timeline is they told him a month ago, you're not going to be here next year, and they let him. Okay, do you want to leave now? You want to leave at the end of the year? Whatever you want to do, you can leave whatever the hell you want. And he made the decision to leave this week. He said, I am done this week. For the 80-year-olds out there, the Werther's Hard Candy is getting some plugs from Schottenkirk.
Good.
I guess people were sad, Charlie. People were really sad. They got rid of the Twins GM. They got rid of them. Media people, coaches, players. I guess this is the guy that signed you. I guess. Is that okay? I guess is that reasonable to kind of be sad when a guy leaves? On a personal level?
I think if you're a coach or a player, especially if he's the guy that signed you, like I can understand, like the guy that hired me is gone.
Mhm.
So I'm a little sad about that. But like with everybody else, with like media and fans, I mean, I think it's safe to say, like, there have been some ups and downs with the Twins' general management over the last 5 years and decisions. There have been some good. There seems to have been maybe more bad that I just don't get why people would be like really sad to see him gone, unless they knew him personally or were actually hired by him.
The loyalty, Marcus, that you bring it up.
The loyalty, there's none of it left.
One of our Sioux Falls media outlets, a contributor there, he was very disgusted by he didn't show him loyalty. What's your thoughts on the loyalty that they showed or did not show cancer survivor Terry Ryan?
I would say that they showed
Oh,
him.
I know he's a cancer survivor, right?
Well, rehire him! Rehire him!
I think they showed him loyalty for a long time. I think he was with the team for 17 years total, and maybe a little longer. And it's a business. The Twins were not winning. He frankly was part of that. I would say that he wasn't in as great a position as he was in the 90s when he took over from Andy MacPhail, because obviously he left it in a good position. When he took over for Bill Smith, it was a disaster. So I would say he had some trouble there, and some of the things that he's tried, the signings of the Asian players hasn't really worked out. I don't know. Nishioka, that was a Bill Smith thing, right?
I think so.
But I just, this thing about there's no loyalty and people being all sad that he's got let go. To me, it's similar to Gardenhire. Yeah, he put in a lot of time for you. That's good, but things are not going the way they need to go, and you got to make a change. I mean, if you're just going to keep going the same way, you can't expect different results.
On the no loyalty thing, I would counter. If there's so much loyalty, how come he did not decide to stay through the end of the season then?
That's right. Where's the loyalty, Terry Ryan? Especially through the fucking trade deadline.
They paid him for 17 years or whatever as the general manager, and you couldn't hang on for another few months.
Or at least the next 2 weeks here.
Right. Yeah. If you want to hang it up August 1, I don't think anybody's gonna. That'd be fine.
David, Paul Molitor's future. What does this hold? What does this move say for that?
Says that he's gold no matter what happens the rest of this year, for next year anyways. But his contract year, kind of funny that they come out and say that the ownership's deciding his future. His contract, I think, expires at the end of next season. Usually managers don't like working on that without an extension beforehand. But that seems the way it's going to be played out. I think they're going to be better next year. And if they're anything around 500 next year, he'll probably have a job in 2018 too. So he's sitting in a pretty good spot for some unknown reason.
I mean, doesn't this show that? I mean, to me, it shows that the poll ads don't really know what they're doing. And the fact that you'd come out and say, "Hey, we're going to control Molitor's future regardless of what GM we bring in," I think that's insane. I think you drive away a lot of GM candidates by doing that. Now, I mean, maybe they get on the same page and decide down the line that they'll make the decision together. But I just think, just because the Twins' way is to be loyal all the time and hang on to guys and try to have continuity, I mean, it's admirable. But I just think it's, I don't think it's always the right step.
If you take a step back and look at it from a non-Twins fan, obviously 3 of us are pretty solid, diehard Twins fans. But if you look at it from the outside, obviously it's a very attractive job with the talent that they have. The pitching situation is not very good currently on the Major League roster, but it can be fixed quite quickly if you make a few moves. But like you said, and not being able to control your own manager, even though the talent is, there's plenty of young talent, it certainly, in my opinion, eliminates a few of the top guys that I would like to go after, because they're not going to want to. They'll see the talent, but they'll see Mulder as a roadblock almost, and like, well, we have to deal with him, and I won't be able to get my guy in there to do what I want with the talent, at least for a year, and set us back or whatever. But I'm not going to be surprised at all if a relatively big name or a relatively well-known name, anyways, within baseball circles, takes a job, because there is a shit ton of talent that's 25 and younger on the team.
Randy Bush it is. Randy Bush it is. Charlie, compare baseball to the other sports as far as the GM. He needs his guy as the manager. Is that the least important of all the sports? The most important of all the sports? Where's baseball stand on the list?
I think that baseball, my gut reaction is it's the most important, the GM,
Really?
where the...
No, the GM saying he needs his guy as the coach.
Oh,
You hear all the time, football, I need my guy as the guy. Where's baseball ranked as far as basketball, all that stuff?
After rehearing the question, my guess is it might be the least important, where I think basically... I don't know. I think it's less important in baseball and in basketball. In basketball, there's the fewest players, and it's basically just massaging everybody's ego and saying, I know you're the baddest. Even though you only got 4 points this game, you're still the best. Where baseball's just more like, okay, yep, you went 1 for 4. We got 100 more damn games. So don't get too personal about it, and we'll be better. Where I think in football, it's probably the most important.
Why do we never see the baseball GM manager combo? You see it in basketball? See it in football? You do not
I
see
want
it?
total control of personnel, says the manager.
Why do we not see it in baseball?
I think it's probably because if you're the GM, you got to be in charge of.
Because there's 6 minor league teams? That could be a reason?
Yeah, and you got to be in charge of the scouts. I would imagine that's a lot for one person, in addition to managing a major league team.
I think Billy Beane should be the manager and the GM of the Athletics, just to see how that goes.
Well, okay, how about this? Obviously, general manager, as we said, lots that go in it. Manager would seem like, I don't know, is there a lot that goes into that as far as game decisions? The coaching aspect is one thing. The game decisions would be that would be good to do. I would like that.
I kind of think coaching in game is maybe the most difficult part of the manager's job. You got to set the lineup card beforehand. You got to talk to some players. What else do you have to do?
When you take the 5 minutes to do all that, what do you do for the next 3 hours?
That's what I mean. Yeah, during the game.
Spread.
During the game, I'm guessing you're busy. What else do you do in the free time? I mean, ideally you have a manager who can coach. Obviously, Paul Molitor knows a little bit about hitting, so he certainly can step in the batting cage and say, hey, do this, don't do that. But I don't know.
Should do that more often with a certain player that we've had long talks about. Trying to get the shit face going.
Would this be a center fielder?
A black center fielder at that, yes.
Black center fielder for the Twins. I'm not familiar.
Matt Law.
Torrey Hunter? Yeah?
His son that plays football at Notre Dame.
Marty Corno.
Baseball picks. Charlie Hildebrand taking a step back. David Shattenkirk and Drew Amon taking a step forward. The problem is that David's ahead of Amon, meaning Amon not gaining any ground. Reds. Went with Reds this week. It was a good pick. Any deadline deals for Charlie to maybe get your three back or so? Any deadline deals that you can pull off here to stay in it?
I'm going to try to send a whole bunch of tattered jerseys to Chris Sale to get him to pitch for me, along with a VHS of Edward Scissorhands. They don't make VCRs anymore. I saw somewhere that the last place in the world that made VCRs. Went out of business. So I guess that means they're going to be worth a crap load of money soon. Because I don't know how that stuff works.
So my VHS of Mighty Ducks 1 and all the Disney movies that I had on VHS and my 3 NFL Films Football Follies videos. We might be out of
those Football Folly things too.
I'm sure we all have VCR somewhere. What's a reasonable life expectancy for this? Maybe your VCR's 15 or 20 years old already. Maybe you haven't used it in a long time. Can I expect this thing to work in 5 or 10 years, even though it's really hasn't?
I think the VCRs work. I think it's just the tapes usually wear out. So I don't know.
Tapes were out.
I don't know usually how that all works.
I know that back when rental video stores used to be a thing, if there were ever like parts with nudity or scantily clad girls, those were frequently the parts where everything would get fuzzy and rewound or paused a lot around that portion of the film. I don't know why, but I guess that happened.
Please be kind and rewind your tape.
How big was VCRs? You look at it and you're like, yeah, they're VCRs. But then when you really fucking think about it, when they first came out, whatever it was, late 70s, early 80s, like if you, like movie theaters, they're around. I don't go to movies. I don't give a shit. Because if you want to download a movie, you can download a movie, illegally or not. If you want to pay for it, go right ahead. If you want to wait for it to come out on TV, there's 1,000 different TV stations. It'll be out sometime in the next year. If you want to buy it on a DVD, it's out there too. So there's many options to see the movie you want to see, even if you don't actually go to the physical movie theater see it. Could you? I can't even imagine the insanity of saying.
Yeah, you couldn't do it before VHS.
I couldn't imagine the insanity of saying, "Oh, the new Star Wars movie's out. I'm going to go see it, and if I don't see it, I may never ever see it ever."
If I don't see it, I've got to hope that ABC shows it edited 6.5 years from now, and that I don't have to work that day.
Like if you didn't see it during like the couple weeks or the month that it was in the theaters, that may be the only shot in your life you'll ever see this movie.
Yeah, this actually wasn't that long ago, but the idea of movies being aired on TV, that's basically like on broadcast TV, where they're like, this is the world broadcast premiere of Shrek.
Big deal.
We're going to show it on the night of Thanksgiving on NBC.
Nobody gives a shit.
That doesn't happen anymore.
And even if it does, it's like, whatever. I've seen this already. What the hell does it matter? We did the baseball picks. Any other baseball notes? Ooh, okay. I got an opening here. I have an opening on a Miami Marlins bandwagon. Any takers here? Any takers? I'm hearing an echo.
Like, are there a lot of steps to get on the bandwagon? Can I easily fly back off if need be?
Yeah, it'd be like 2 steps. Your old-fashioned.
It's a 12-step process.
No.
Juan Centeno.
Centeno. Let's play the Red Sox and the Rangers. Let's play the 2 best teams in the league and Cleveland. Let's play the best team. If only they could be in the playoffs, they'd win the whole thing. They just can't beat anybody else. Miami Marlins, they do have the second wild card spot right now. A game behind the Dodgers, a game ahead of the Cardinals, a game and a half ahead of the Mets, 3 ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
P-Rats.
I can get on the Marlins bandwagon. Anybody else?
I don't really care.
Sure, I'll jump on the Marlins bandwagon.
Why not? Miami's been in the playoffs twice in 22 years, and they've won it both times.
Although I should say the bandwagon I'm jumping on, I'm paying for it with a cash card that they might find out is expired and doesn't have any money on it, so I might get kicked off soon.
Well, that's their problem. The all important run differential, the Amen run differential. Marlins, 9 games over 500. They have scored 8 more runs than their opponents. That's all you need.
That'll do.
And the Twins are a game back of Tampa Bay for not being the worst team.
Let's get out of the color. Let's get out.
They're already better than the Braves, so they play a couple times next week. And they're chasing down the Reds. My Reds are only a game behind the Reds, so they're gonna fuck themselves by getting the first pick. They may get like the 5th pick. So there you go. I had some UFC last night. There was a fight between women, and slight underdog won. The Holly Holm loses. I think she's an awful goddamn fighter. Is her star burned out? Holly Holm, is she finished?
She'll get one more match against a big name. She's got to. But from where she was at last November, how quickly a star can fade, my God. And she was the next big thing or the biggest thing when she knocked out Rousey. And sure as shit, choked out by Tate, and then last night looking like a amateur out there. Not very good, and that whole division's upside down, to say the least, right now.
My God.
I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure how she got a title fight to begin with.
Well, took most of her opportunity and made a fuck ton of money by head kick knockout.
She did.
Knocked out the best one of all time. But
She did.
yeah, I'm not sure either. She didn't really beat anybody leading up to it, but she was there and she took the opportunity. And ever since, it kind of seems like she's been on the easy street and hasn't been getting any better. That's for sure. She's looking. I didn't see last night from the sounds. She looked pretty awful.
Well, if you saw her first two fights a couple years ago, that's what happened last night. Wasn't very good.
Yeah.
The female Buster Douglas, marginal at best fighter, beats the greatest thing of all time, and really didn't do a goddamn thing after that. So.
Breaking news: Indians front runners to acquire Chapman. Let's go.
Let's go, Indians. Let's go. Get to see a lot of him. That'll be good for the Twins, because the Twins, I'm so waiting for him and Buxton to get at it.
He can throw it really, really fast.
That is the rumors, that he's a good fastball. At least
Not
95.
confirmed. Not confirmed.
Not confirmed, but rumors are 95 plus fastball. 95 plus.
I watched something on Netflix. I think it was called Fastball, where it talks about all the guys who can throw it really fast, like over the history of baseball. He was mentioned numerous times in it.
Was this the opposite of the knuckleball one?
Yes.
There's a lot of this talks about more people. My recollection is the knuckleball was basically what's his name from the Mets and what's his name from the Red Sox, and basically nobody else. Where this talks to like a boatload of different people.
R.A. Dick.
That's on Netflix?
Yeah.
I
I mean, it's not like the greatest thing ever, but certainly, if you have any interest in pitchers who can throw it really fast, it's interesting. They also talked to they talked to Bob Gibson. I thought Bob Gibson was always like, he's portrayed as being so angry and mean, and then when you hear him talk, it's like, wow, he seems like a really nice guy. And then he talks about how he threw at people's heads, and it's like, oh, huh.
Try to kill him.
He's really good at baseball, I guess.
You might have been an a-hole out there.
Try to kill
He's
him.
good at pitching, though.
Sad news, Marcus. Sad news.
Say it.
Denny Green, dead.
Dead.
67 years old, heart attack. Iowa's finest. Second best coach in Viking history, fair to say that?
Fair to say.
113 wins, 94 losses. The playoffs were not good, and he was also awful with Northwestern and Stanford. But it's pretty good with the 90s. The first coach that we remember with the Vikings. Always good teams, good for 9-10 wins a year. Playoffs, not so much. Looking back, is he maybe a guy that probably doesn't get as much credit probably as he should?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of the credit ends up going to the players, and that's fine. But he was a pretty good coach for all the little quirks that people had about him. I will say that since his death on Friday, it does kind of bother me that it feels like nationally more people recognize him for being a coach with the Cardinals because he went on a 2-minute rant, and the fact that he had some really good goddamn teams with the Vikings.
Charlie, let's say that the Vikings actually win the Super Bowl in '98. How does that change Denny Green's legacy? Is he seen as one of the great teams of all time that never did it? How does that change his deal?
How would it change it if the Vikings win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, would have won it that one year. Denny Green seen as he's like.
Honestly, I don't think it would dramatically change anything. I think people would still look at the '98 team specifically as this fantastic team that. I mean, I don't know if I would say they would have won the Super Bowl, but should have at least played the Broncos.
Should have at least been there.
Yeah, they should have beat the Falcons. And I think even if they would, let's say they win a Super Bowl 2 years and 5 years from now, I think that people might focus a little less on the '98 Vikings and the '09 Vikings, but still, whenever anybody brings it up, the first thought would be like, oh my God, they should have won a Super Bowl that year. They were so good. And I think that, Traxler brought up a good point that maybe he's not getting enough credit for what he did in Minnesota because of the rant in Arizona and everything. But I think his legacy's probably pretty cemented in Minnesota, unless like over the next 30 years they have 4 different coaches who all win multiple Super Bowls, which I guess could happen, but it's unlikely.
What I would say is that when you win a Super Bowl as a coach, I mean, then you become Super Bowl winning coach, and we've seen how that changes other guys.
Hot take there. So you mean when you win Super Bowl winning coach?
That's my take. I'm sticking to it. It's a big take. It's a risk, but yeah, I'm going to say it. So I'm just thinking of some examples. I mean, Tom Coughlin had plenty of lean years with the Giants, but he's a 2-time champion because he knows how to beat the Patriots. And there's some other examples that aren't exactly jumping out at me right now, but it does change things. I mean, Denny Green would be in a different echelon of coaches if he had won 2 more games in 1998.
Brian Billick hung around as the Ravens head coach.
That's
The Bucs head coach for long periods of time because they did win Super Bowls.
It's pretty fascinating if you look at Denny Green's college record versus the pro record. I don't think there's that big a split, probably anybody in history. He was 26-63 as a college head coach in the 80s, early 90s at Northwestern, Stanford. 7-37 at Northwestern in Big Ten play in his 5 years.
I think at Northwestern they set some record. Either they set a record for the longest losing streak or they just had the active record for the longest losing streak. I know they had something where they lost like 30 straight games or something like that, which is really tough to do. I mean, you've got to be really bad to not win for like 30 straight years.
Get the Edwin gif out and get it out. Brian Billick was seen as this big offensive genius, and then he goes to Baltimore, and they were awful. They were just dreadful. And it's not like he had any talent there to begin with, but Jesus Christ.
The offense was handed off to Jamal Lewis, and you shrug your shoulders.
Trent Dilfer, Kyle Bowler, Elvis Grbac, and Ari. I mean, like the Vikings, they did not have a problem having good quarterbacks. They had a problem having a quarterback that would be there for more than 2 years. But whoever the hell was there was always really, really good. Does Denny Green deserve some credit? He was there the whole time.
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson. Didn't do too bad. We also want to mention his United Football League record of 8-11.
Good job, Denny.
And that is actually 3 seasons worth of games right there. So very good. And if there's no Denny Green, maybe there's no Mike Tice. Mike Tice, who knows? So Denny Green unexpectedly dies. Good coach. The coach of our youth. Does anybody have trivia?
Yep.
Yep.
Is that a yes from Marcus or a mocking yes from Marcus?
It's a mocking yes. I don't have one, but maybe I can come up
I
with
as well have a question.
Okay, then you don't need one from me.
What do we got here? Barkley? Matt Barkley?
Markley?
Okay, it's kind of. This might not be very fun, but
if there's not at least there better be at least 300 answers to this. Or I'm
As long as it's not name everybody who's ever made an All-Star team ever.
23 teams in college football since 2000 have won at least 65% of their games.
Oh, good.
Which on this list, 3 of which on this list have moved from FCS to FBS in that time, but they still count as they are over 65% winning percentage since they started keeping track by the looks of it.
Just their FBS record counts?
We could, how about this? I'll just eliminate these 3 teams so we don't get confused. Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, and Old Dominion are on the list, but since they weren't in the bowl series the whole time, I will not count them as answers. So then 20 teams since 2000 have a 65% winning percentage in college football. Name me one of the 20 teams.
I never think in terms of winning percentage. This will be interesting and fun.
Like 65 doesn't seem all that good, you know?
There's only 10 for the last 15 years.
Well, if you can go 8-4, that's pretty cool.
Yep. Let's start with Marcus.
I will start with Alabama.
Alabama, 15th on the list. Yes.
Skirting by. Some lean years.
Charlie.
I'm going to attempt to call my shot and say this team's number 1 on the list. I don't know if they actually are or not, but I bet they'll rank highly. I'll say the mighty Boise State Broncos, sports line favorite.
Do we have David Schottenkirk on the line? David from Sartell, hello?
Oh, man, we got a real cliffhanger here now.
Well, this did not go well. Poorly. One could say this went very poorly. Well, Arias, folks.
Back. What did Charlie say?
Boise State.
Boise State, yes. Hold your shot. 4.5%.
They were number 1?
They are number 1.
I'll go with Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, 3rd on the list, yes. 80.7% winning percentage since 2000. Marcus.
Which ones were said? I cut out there.
Oklahoma and Boise State.
Okay. I'm writing down.
There's still an echo somewhere. Everybody else hear that?
Yeah, I hear you.
Probably me.
I will go with Florida State.
Florida State, yes, 13th. 71%.
What the hell is
The fuck's that?
I don't know, that sounded weird. It's my turn.
Yes.
That's not Charlie.
I will guess Traxler's favorite team, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The Ohio State, yes.
There's a team out there that was really good for a few years. They really haven't been good for a long time. I will not say that team, and I will say Florida.
Florida, yes. Instead of Florida State.
I will go with Auburn.
Auburn.
Arizona and the Reds, 3rd inning, 5-4. Chuck.
I will say Schottenkirk's favorite team, the Oregon Ducks.
My favorite, you got it. Yep, you bet. 6th.
Did anybody say LSU?
No, LSU just did.
I would like to say that.
5 of the top 6.
I will go with Michigan State.
Did you say Michigan?
Michigan State.
Can we fix this echo?
Is it gigantic echo? You said Michigan.
Michigan State, the Spartans.
The Spartans, not on the list.
Fuck.
The 61.5%. Charlie.
Like, I can think of a few that are probably there. I'm trying to just make sure that I'm not missing out on any easy layups. Because, I mean, I'll use an example of someone that was already said, but, I don't, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, yeah, I forgot. LSU's really been good over the last 15 years, and I mistakenly went with this mediocre Pac-12 team. And I'm also more gun-shy because this team's profile, at least in my head, is very similar to Michigan State's. Either way, I can't help it because I get to make fun of Traxler again and say that Traxler's favorite team, the Wisconsin Badgers.
That was the one.
Also Charlie's favorite team, the Wisconsin Badgers.
Wisconsin, yes. 69.5%.
How about Miami?
The U, 22nd, yes, 7%.
Good. Arizona, Cincinnati, bottom of the third, 5-5. The over was 10, so if you had the over, you already won almost. Charlie.
This team's not been as good the last few years, but they were so good earlier in the decade. I'm going to assume that Texas is above 65% over the last 15 or 16 years.
Texas, yes, 73.5%.
How many have left?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left.
Clemson's usually been okay, and they've been really good lately, so I'll go with Clemson.
Clemson, yes, 68.1%.
Barely.
I'm going to stick with my train of thought and do the ACC version of Texas and say Stacken's Virginia Tech Hokies.
Mm.
Virginia Tech, yes, just over 71%. They're 11th on the list.
I know this team maybe had a couple bad years. They've had a couple really good years. Well, there's another team out there, too. We'll go TCU.
TCU, believe it or not, 5th, yes.
Get hard. Higher than I thought. You got 5 left?
I know. I was trying to think of schools that were mid-majors besides Boise State, and obviously TCU is not anymore. But
There are, let me see, 5 left.
Tough.
this is going to be close.
I think there's one team out there we're missing that's really high, I think.
This will be close because they've been consistent, but not like winning 11 or 12 games over the last decade. But I will take my father's Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Close.
Your father's Nebraska Cornhuskers are 23rd, 65 points.
So just barely.
They are the last team, the lowest team that's over 65%.
I will.
So they got to go at least 9-4 this year, or 8-4 with no bowl game to stay above that.
Georgia.
You said Georgia?
I said Georgia.
Georgia, 7th, yes.
That's one we were missing. I'm like, oh, Georgia's been really good. Haven't won anything, but they're really good.
So how many do we have left now? 3?
There are 3 left, yes.
Christ.
2 from the same conference.
Hmm.
I'm going to at least try to sort of think out loud, which is boring, but at least not do the stacking thing where I just sit here with the thinker pose for 8 minutes without saying anything, which is really boring. I don't think many have been said from the ACC, but that gets more complicated because like half the teams in the ACC now weren't in the ACC a decade ago. And I can think of some mid-major teams that are generally good, but I just don't remember. Like, I have, 6-year stretches where I'm like, I don't know what they did those years.
Tough.
Let's see. My guess is that there's nobody left from the Pac-12, so I need to quit thinking of Pac-12 schools. And there's probably nobody left from the SEC.
I've got 3 teams here that I'm considering.
I've got 1 or 2 that I've got in my head, but I just am not confident in them at all. I'm trying to make sure there aren't better ones out there. We'll stick with another of Traxler's favorite teams based off their good year last year and say the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Wow.
The Iowa Hawkeyes are 32nd at 62%.
Good.
Good. Fuck them.
Travis for the win.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, 31st.
They were really bad from like 2000 through 2004 or 5 or so.
God damn them.
And then they've been really good since then.
Just mind-blowing, fascinating. The hat, the best team for 5 years. Nobody said USC. So
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about them?
Good job. USC was is eighth, I believe.
I thought somebody said USC.
Nobody said USC. I'm 100% positive USC.
You can get one more guess since it was a tie.
Okay, fine. Then I just there's still 2 teams left. I just ruined one. USC's off the board.
You blew it.
So there was at least one Pac-12 team left, Charlie. Thank you.
To be fair, like I said, I thought somebody had said USC.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm working on a trivia question here since I got knocked out early. So
There's a good chance that this one will be wrong. I am suffering from recency bias, and I know they have had some pretty good years in the last 6 or 7 years. Oh, they've also had years where they've been mediocre. I will take probably not, but hopeful future Big 12 member, the Houston Cougars.
Wow.
Houston, searching, still searching.
So no.
53rd on the list.
Oh,
55%.
man.
I will
Apparently
go
they must
with,
have been really bad in the early to mid 2000s.
I will go with Denny Green's Stanford Cardinal.
Stanford. You would think so,
Fuck them.
but they sucked ass for a long time.
yeah, they were terrible.
Until Jim Harbaugh's like second or third year.
45th on the list for Stanford Cardinal. We're going to go until somebody gets one of these 2 teams.
I will take the BYU Mormons.
IU. 26, close.
West Virginia.
West Virginia, 25th, close, but no. Still 2 teams left. You'll get there
Kansas
eventually.
State Wildcats.
Kansas State,
Mm.
36.
Damn it, Bill Snyder. Shouldn't have hired Ron Prince, then they'd be on that list. They didn't have that 3-year stretch.
Arizona State.
Arizona State. Oh, they sucked ass.
There's a Pac-12 team out there.
There is a Pac-12 team out there still, yes.
Not Arizona State. It's not Stanford. Not USC. Not Oregon. Jesus.
There's ACC. I'll give you that.
Is it California?
No.
Who in the fuck is it?
Jesus, no.
Think about it.
No.
They were really good, and then okay, and then decent the last few years. They were really good for a couple years. A certain coach was there.
Certain coach.
Arguably the best coach in the country.
Never heard of him.
Do I have to wait for Travis, or can I just say it now?
If you know, you can say it. I don't care if it's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming that it's Utah.
It is Utah, yes, 21st. There's still an ACC team left. You want to guess? You want me to tell you?
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, no.
Pittsburgh.
No.
NC State. Louisville.
No. Louisville.
I have a question.
Should have known the team that I picked to win the ACC last year and severely let me down.
I have a question. We have 3 gentlemen here playing. So, We'll have 15 questions. They're numbered 1 through 15. You pick a number. I'll say the question that's by that number, and we'll go from there. So David, Marcus, Charlie, you each get 5 questions each.
So we're not going until you get one wrong. We're just seeing who gets the most of their 5 right.
Yes. David goes first, 1 through 15. A variety of hit here.
8.
Who was the last country to win the World Cup?
Really?
Yes.
Glad I didn't get that question.
Who?
Really?
Yep. Marcus.
I'll take question number 2.
What baseball player hit the most home runs in the night?
What?
That's incorrect.
Cool.
It was not Tom what? What baseball player hit the most home runs in the 1990s? 90 to 99. Who hit the most? One guy hit more than anybody. It wasn't Mookie Betts.
Ken Griffey Jr.
It was Ken Griffey Jr. Charlie.
Can I take question 69?
Maybe 6 and 9, but no.
We'll round up from 6.9, and I'll say question 7.
This is a tough one. Who was the last white American on a first-team All-NBA?
The last white guy that was first team, the last white American.
White American.
Oh, jeez.
This is tough.
Well, let's see. First off, I'm trying to think if there's been anybody since Larry Bird.
It wasn't Mike Miller either. It was not Mike Miller.
What's that?
It wasn't Mike Miller either. Or Kirk Heinrich.
Or Doug McDermott.
Well, I don't know about that. I didn't say it.
I'll say, oh my God, now I'm blanking on his name. White Chocolate from the Sacramento Kings.
It was not anybody else got a guess.
Adam Morrison.
Nope.
Never forget.
Yep. Mark Price.
No. Yeah, I guess he was good.
93.
Good free throw shooter.
It took a while. I mean, it's been 22 years. David.
Number 1.
World Golf Rankings first came out in 1986. Tiger Woods is number 1. Most weeks at number 1. Who's number 2?
The most weeks at number 1.
Barely hear you. Who's number 2? Number 1. Type in, looking.
That's not me typing, but is it VJ?
What do you got?
VJ Singh.
No. Greg Norman.
Fuck you.
Fuck Greg Norman. Marcus for the lead.
I'll take, I don't know which questions you said. I'll say question number 11.
Who was the last New York Knick to win the MVP?
I'll give you $100. You say.
Walt Frazier.
Willis Reed.
Damn it.
Charlie to tie.
Lucky number 13.
How many basketball players have won a NBA title, an NCAA title, and a gold medal?
The trifecta.
How many players?
Of 2 quote-unquote amateur championships and 1 professional paid championship.
How many people ever?
Well, Jordan has, so there's at least 1.
He did. You picked 2 of the toughest questions.
Larry Bird did, so there's 2. No, I mean, sorry, not Larry Bird. Larry Bird didn't win a title, but Magic Johnson did. So that's 2. I don't know. I don't want to. I'll say 4.
7.
7.
David.
Who am I missing? Or do you
I
have?
don't know. There's. I don't have the list. There's Jerry or John Lucas, a guy way back. There were 7 guys. They were all not as good as those first 2. David Chuck.
3.
This is based on the year they were drafted. Who's the most recent basketball Hall of Famer? What are we looking at here? What are we looking at here?
I have no idea. Karl Malone.
Yao Ming, drafted in 2002. He's the most recent. Shaq, 96. Allen Iverson, 96. Marcus.
What numbers are available still?
Four, 5, 6.
Give me number 4 then.
Who was the last Hall of Fame quarterback taken in the first round?
In the Hall of Fame now.
He's in the Hall of Fame now. He was a first-round pick. He was the last first-round pick. Quarterback. Hall of Fame. To take a commanding 1-point lead.
I'm going to say Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman would be correct. Charlie.
I'll take 7 times 2 for 14 because I don't think that number's been said yet.
Again, very difficult question.
Man, I am whammies all over the place.
Who is the only player ever in the same season to win the MVP, the Cy Young, and the Gold Glove?
MVP, Cy Young, and a Gold Glove?
Yes.
Man, that's a pretty good year.
It's only happened once.
I'm going to make the mistake of naming a pitcher that's really good that I know was also a good fielder, where I do not know if he ever won the MVP or not, because I generally have no idea if pitchers are good fielders. I will say Greg Maddux.
You have already said this guy's name today.
Chris Sale?
Bob Gibson.
No. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Very good. David Shattenkirk, LLC.
He's dead.
Number 5, number 6, number 9, number 10, number 12, and number 15. Dead. Marcus. Those are your numbers.
Number 15.
2 players in baseball history have made the All-Star game with 5 different teams. Name one of the 2.
Okay, I'm alive, I promise.
There we go.
50. Give me 50.
He can have it then. He can have it.
You can have it? All right.
Yeah.
There have been there have been 2 baseball players to make the All-Star team with 5 different teams. Name one of the 2 guys. Maybe our most difficult question.
That's why I gave it up.
Well, you guess that's why you didn't give it up.
I have literally no idea.
You've heard of both of them. You both see them play.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just say Babe Ruth because I know it's wrong.
Was
Who?
one of them Eddie Murray?
Babe Ruth?
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna get it right, so I made it funny because I know.
He played for the. He was the first All-Star ever for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Not Eddie Murray. Gary Sheffield. Or we have also accepted Moises Alou. Moises Alou. And I believe the story is he would piss on his hands to make his calluses real tough. Marcus.
He also drank his own urine because it's sterile and he liked the taste.
He shit out of his mouth.
I will take number 10.
This was intended for stacking. Who's won the most ESPYs for best male athlete?
Most for best male athlete?
Yep.
Bruce Jenner.
What are the judges on this one? Judges. Yes or no?
I have no idea. I'm going to say Kobe Bryant.
Tiger Woods would have been the guess. Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Makes sense. He's also good.
He's also Charlie's still in it. Could still win.
Has anyone asked for question 9 yet?
They have not.
Snatch it.
I'll do 9.
How many WrestleManias have there been?
How many WrestleManias have there been? I know roughly how many there have been.
Kirk's punching his dick right now.
27.
32.
Oh man, there were even more than I thought.
I believe this is the final round. We have question 5, question 6, question 12.
Question number 5.
This is for David.
See, I'll take question number 5.
12, then.
For the tie, put the pressure on Traxler as DDS. What city has hosted the most baseball all-star games?
It should be obvious, but it's not. Worst trivia performance going down, because I'm not getting this one right either. I'll say New York.
New York City for the tie, folks. We have a tie atop the British Open standings. Marcus, number 6 or number 12?
Number 6.
That'd be the more difficult of the two.
Thank you.
Who was the last non-black player to be first team All-NBA?
The last 9?
The last the last non-black player. Where if he were to check it, mark it on the census or whatever, he would not put black.
How do guys like Doug Christie and Mike Bibby rate in this?
Jason
You're not
Kidd, I
sure.
mean, it's difficult. It's Inuit, maybe? Maybe just go Inuit.
Is this person like a halfsy or no?
He would not be a halvesy. If you're a halvesy, you're a black.
This is pretty obvious here, Jackson.
I think I have it, but I just want to make. We're talking first team, right?
First team All-NBA. Not black. You would not call this guy a black guy.
I'm going to go with Steve Nash.
Mark Gasol.
Marc Gasol, fuck.
I also would have been wrong. I was going to say Dirk Nowitzki.
He's from Spain. That doesn't count.
He's not black. Charlie, here's the last one.
Number 12?
Number 12. Who was the last 8 seed to win an NBA series?
the last 8 seed to win an NBA series. I don't know if someone's done it more recently, but I know that the Golden State Warriors beat the Mavericks, so I'll say Golden State.
They did do it? A team has done it?
Was it the Memphis Grizzlies over the Spurs?
They did it as well? The Sixers.
Denver Nuggets over Seattle.
The 76ers in 2012, where Derrick Rose's career ended.
Oh.
They beat the Bulls.
That's right. I forgot about that. Your Bulls have not caught any breaks since they won 6 NBA titles in like 8 years.
Here's what I want. Tiebreaker.
They had the best player of all time.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman.
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper. Marcus has my phone number. David has. Can you text? Or
Yes.
Or
Yes.
send a Facebook message. Send a Facebook message. Whatever is easier.
Even though I'm out, I'm also going to play this.
You will play as both, yes. Diamondbacks, Reds, top of the 5th, 6-5. Who was the last first-round running back to make the Hall of Fame? Similar to Troy Aikman with football, this is a running back. He's in the first round. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's the last first-round running back in the Hall of Fame.
I don't even know if this guy's in the Hall of Fame, but this is my guess that I'm texting you. Actually, I don't even know if he was drafted in the first round either, now that I think about it.
The last one to be inducted or last one to be drafted?
To be inducted. This is the last in the Hall of Fame. He's the last first-round running back, or he was drafted in the first round. He's the last one of those guys. Charlie is wrong. Good guess, but wrong.
Like I said, the more I think about it, I don't even know if he was a first-round draft pick, and I don't think he's actually in the Hall of Fame either.
Nathan Schottenkirk has an answer, and it is correct. It is correct.
I wish I would have thought more.
Marcus went with Jerome Bettis. David went with Marshall Falk. 1 year difference there. Marshall Falk was right.
God damn it. I thought we were going off of when they got inducted, right?
Yes. Third.
All right.
Let's see. Probably went with Jamal Lewis.
I don't know if Jamal Lewis is getting in the Hall of Fame.
Killed too many people. What's your question?
Like I said, I also do not know if Jamal Lewis was a first-round draft pick either. I think he was, but I'm not all that confident.
What's Marcus's? Well,
We'll save it for another time.
Well, let's see. Marshall
Unless
Falk
you really
was in the
want
Hall of Fame in 2011. Bettis was in there last year. Jerome Bettis was drafted in 94. Marshall Falk was drafted in 94. Jerome Bettis was drafted in 93. Yeah, Marshall Falk was drafted a year after.
Bastards.
We'll go with him. We'll save it for another day.
All right, I got a trivia question, although there's only one answer. It's not a multiple answer one. And whoever, you can just blurt it out. Can you name the only college football head coach who has not only won a BCS bowl game or a New Year's at-large game, but has also appeared in at least one episode of Saved by the Bell?
Jim Harbaugh.
That is the correct answer. It's Jim Harbaugh.
What a crazy bastard. Jim Harbaugh.
Assuming. I didn't check. I'm assuming he's
I would assume, yes.
never been in Saved by the Bell.
Lou Holtz, maybe? I don't know.
God forbid you forgot when Bob Stoops was on there.
This GA is really going somewhere. I don't know what he was doing at that point in time.
We had the Republican National get-together last week. Did that live up to the hype? Marcus?
Yeah, you're the one with the echo, by the way.
Am I? Why do I have an echo?
I don't know.
My headphones are
Don't
in?
blame us for it, though.
Why?
What do you want to know about the Republican National Convention?
Were you entertained?
I was entertained.
What was your favorite part?
Ted Cruz being an asshole.
That was your favorite part?
Yep.
Charlie, did you have a favorite part?
I didn't watch it. I was on vacation visiting one of my friends in Wyoming.
How
And,
dare you?
Took a hard pass on politics.
Oh, no, lots of good stuff.
I guess I will say my favorite part was when I thought that maybe LeBron James would walk out with the nomination a month ago, and then that didn't happen, unfortunately.
He can't. He just can't win the big one. He can never win the big one. LeBron.
If he just had a little more heart, maybe he could have won it.
He doesn't want it. If he wanted it, he would have won it already, for Christ's sake. He just doesn't care. Anything from the Democrats that you expect out of the ordinary? Is this going to be by the books?
Be more positive.
Is that right?
I expect a rousing speech.
Terrific.
It'll be by the books.
Good.
Although this little
How have
email
you-
scandal they're having makes it interesting.
It does. It does. Ugh. The warm weather. Is the warm weather done? Are we done?
Nope.
God,
We're
I
not
hope
done.
it's done soon. Heat index of
Not done with
over
this?
100 around here is not my cup of tea.
No good.
Terrible.
Should be back to normal starting today or next week, so it's good.
Like, I don't know how accurate the thermometer in my car is. I think it's probably off by at least 2 or 3 degrees, but when I was driving back last week, or a few days ago, because, well, whatever. But anyways, I pressed, like, my car, like, it shows the time, and if you press a button, it shows both the Fahrenheit and the Celsius temperature. And on I-90, somewhere in either Wyoming or South Dakota, it said it was 113 degrees outside.
Outside.
Now, granted, my guess is that some of that is, like, reflecting, off the pavement, and it was not actually that high, but, even if you take 5 degrees off, that's still high. Like, when you hit it, and, like, I don't know Celsius that well. Like, I know what freezing and boiling is, but, like, I don't know how hot's hot or how cold's cold. But when it says it's 44 degrees Celsius, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure that's pretty hot.
That is quite ridiculous. What did you see in Wyoming? Who did you see?
My friend Andy Perry, who used to sort of do something with the SDSU football team and former roommate. And basically, we just watched TV and played football video games.
Like the old days.
It was basically too hot to do anything outside, so it was mostly spent indoors.
What do you have? Amateur baseball roundup. What do we have? Getting hot and heavy.
It's getting good, folks. It's getting good.
Any point spreads?
Well, always pick the over. Unless you're watching a Sunshine League game, then maybe not. But Pony Hills, you want runs? Pony Hills League, that's where it's at. So that's good.
There we go, folks. Anything else?
In other baseball news, our Sioux City Explorers were down 6 runs, and then they scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th to tie it, and then in the bottom of the 9th gave up a walk-off home run. So they literally crawled all the way back. They scaled their way back up the mountain after they'd sort of fallen, and then when they put their left arm on top to start to reach over, they slipped and then fell off the mountain again and died.
May as well not even come back. If 6-0, may as well lose 6-1. What the hell's the goddamn point?
I had to change my intro like 3 different times while I was writing that damn story.
And they lose. And they get shut out. And they get extra innings. And they win. And then finally they lose again. How about it? Also, Sioux Falls Storm, another championship. So NDSU football recruiting does it again, folks. They do it again. Next week.
That pipeline, North Dakota State to the Sioux Falls Storm, is legit.
It's why they're doing the oil pipeline from western North Dakota here, just to put the football players in the pipe, and they will get here in 3 to 4 weeks. So,
Put them in the pipe.
yeah. Next week, the baseball trade deadline will be happening as we do the show, so that should be fun. It's on a Sunday at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Central. So we'll
I
be
saw some a-hole say that the trade deadline was August 1st.
Nope, they'd be on.
And I don't know why that would be, but
You heard it during the Republican convention this week, is what you heard it from.
Speaking of the trade deadline, and if you just want to end the show, we can end the show. You don't have to follow on this. But hypothetically, let's say that in some way there was interest in the Twins and White Sox making a trade, which there probably wouldn't be because they're in the same division. But if the Twins were interested in picking up Chris Sale, what do you think the Twins would realistically have to give up to get said left-handed pitcher for the White Sox?
Barrios, their best pitching prospect. Oh, at least 2 more prospects. Like a Max Kepler, probably. Which I wouldn't like. Because like their DH first base spots are kind of full. They got Todd Frazier at third. Polanco, I suppose. Polanco's shortstop, second base guy. So at least those 3. Maybe throwing a bullpen guy, and maybe another pitching prospect of some sorts. So Kepler, Barrios,
trade all the guys.
Jorge Polanco, Brandon Kinsler, and another arm of sorts.
Mark it down. It's going to happen because that's what always happens at the trade deadline. 2 sellers end up trading with each other to have the blockbuster deal.
How about this? Would Barrios and Buxton be enough? What else do we need? If we offer those 2, 1 more?
If you offered Kepler, they'd
those
probably
3?
take it.
Intriguing. Very intriguing.
It's a terrible trade. The Twins even entertaining getting Sale would be bad.
Well, he would be better than Barrios, you would assume.
He would be.
So that's an upgrade there. Buxton hasn't shown anything of worth, so he's, we'll see what happens with him. And Kepler looks really good. So, something to ponder. You got to throw Nunez in there just because you got to throw Nunez in all the trades.
Just because I don't want to watch him anymore.
Nunez?
Yeah, we know where I stand on the helmet. Get him out of here.
There's nothing I would love more than to be a general manager and to do something like that. Like, okay, you have to take this guy too. And they're like, oh, we don't want that guy. It's like, no, you don't have to give anything extra. You just also have to take this guy because we don't want him anymore.
That'd be good. Mike
we'll even pay his salary. Just take him and get rid of him. I don't want to see him again.
Mike Trout for Chris Sale. The White Sox have to add a little, maybe something to that?
Just 1 for 1?
Considering Trout's got a long-term big money deal and Sale's only got like 3 more years left, I would assume the White Sox would have to add something to that.
Yeah.
It'd be the rare case where you were Sale, you'd have to add something to Sale to get something. So.
That's baseball.
That's baseball, folks. They score some runs, and when they don't, they don't. Sports Lounge 179, the Extreme Echo edition. We'll be back next week. Trade deadline 180. Stacking. We'll talk about his wife.
More echo.
More echo. The bigger, the brighter the echo.